morning, everyone. It's another Thursday morning. Everybody is doing okay. Thelma's busy testing some folks right now, so she might join us later. But right now, she is out of commission, not part of the presentation today, and at least not that we know yet. We're going to wait a couple of minutes and make sure everybody's settled in and see if anybody else wants to join us live for a weekly update. How's everybody doing, by the way?
Where's my thumb? Good.
It's hot outside. I know that everybody is not really happy about that. But luckily, our air conditioners work pretty well here in the building because it has been really a difficult last couple of weeks with the heat, in the high 90s, close to triple digits. But it is summertime, so we should expect that this is going to be how it's going to be for quite some time now.
I just unmuted and that happened. So I'm unmuted here. Do I need to unmute or is it being, can you hear me? Okay.
Okay, looks like we are about ready to start here. Wanted to thank everybody for joining us again, all the members of the team. There's not a lot of information to share on COVID today. Just a quick update and some information about vaccines. And then we're going to go into our department updates and make sure everyone in the community knows what we all are doing over the next 7 days and coming in the future. So it's July 14th, 2022. The time is 11:09 a.m. and I'd like to welcome everybody to the San Luis Pueblo's Health and Human Services Department and COVID update. My name is Troy. I'm the department director, and joining us here in today's update are our staff, Claudia Lente, Lenora Arieta, LaDon Yazzie, and Victoria Martinez. Can you all hear me? Good. Well, you can hear me, Claudia?
She said yes.
Okay, sorry. There's so many images on the screen that you were hidden. And I couldn't see you.
Okay.
Anyway.
To give you thumbs up on the camera.
All right. So just a quick update. What is our current COVID information? So we had a little bit of a scare there. We were up above 10 and in double digits for quite some time. But luckily, we've had a few days to recover as a community. we're down now to single digits and down to 5 cases that are active right now. But what is most significant to understand and show people how quickly the virus does spread, especially this current variant. Um, and since July 1st, which is only a 13 and a half day period, we had 21 cases, positive cases in the community, which is quite high. We've had a few spikes that have, um, you know, come into the community and brought the cases high before. But I think this is the fastest we had spread since vaccinations became a thing. And so that's what makes it most significant, because a lot of the folks with this new variant, regardless of their vaccination status or past infection status, have tested positive for COVID many times. Some of them more than they had theirs more than one. This was more their second or more time being positive for COVID. So total cases since the beginning of the pandemic, we're up to 272 cases total, with 265 having recovered. Take a look at the state vaccine data, the state COVID case data. This is as of yesterday. There were 1,170 new cases, 16 new deaths, and hospitalizations. You have 176 currently hospitalized as of yesterday, with 22 on ventilators. And you definitely want to highlight that last part there, the hospitalization, because a lot of folks still tend to believe that the Omicron variant is so mild that it is not causing problems with hospitalizations and death. And as you can see, 16 new deaths is a lot of deaths from COVID in one day for what has been considered a milder version of the coronavirus, especially 22 folks being on ventilators. So it is still a serious virus. Positivity rate, as you can see, the majority of the state is in red, which means it's a high community transmission rate. There's only one county that's not quite in the red, but it is a very has a very low population. So, but our positivity rating is about 17.4%. So that of all the tests that are being reported, 17.4% of those cases are positive. So just a little bit less than 1 in 5 individuals who are testing for COVID are testing positive in the county of Santa Fe. So, as I was saying earlier about the Omicron variant, it is the dominant variant in the state of New Mexico, representing about 66% of all cases. Now, that includes all of the Omicron variants, including the ones that are showing up now, BA4 and BA5, BA2. There's actually another BA 2.75 that appeared again yesterday, that was reported yesterday. So, it's mutating pretty consistently, but at least we are still, it's still the Omicron variant. It's not a different variant. And to be specific about which variants are here in New Mexico, if you look at the bottom of the screen, the BA2, BA4, and BA5 are the dominant strains of the Omicron variant in New Mexico. And for a while there, we were predominantly BA2. That was the one that was going on for, since the middle of May up until, a couple of weeks ago. And now, as you see where the little arrow is, it's showing that BA4 and BA5 are increasing in numbers in the state of New Mexico, with BA5 being the one that has the public health community pretty concerned about, because it does evade protections, including past infection and vaccinations, and a lot more than the other subvariants have in the past. And with this new BA 2.75, I can't remember exactly what the number is now. There's so many of them. It is actually predicted to evade protections um, and immunities a little bit more than the BA4 and BA5 do. So as you can see, it is increasing as of 3 days ago. That's where we are in the sequenced subvariants. So on the vaccines, I found this really interesting image that kind of gives a breakdown of the pediatric doses, all the way from the most recently approved 6-month to 5-year-old doses, all the way up to 17-year-old. And it's actually a really good image, because it basically explains everything about what they're eligible for, how many shots there are, how what the time frame is between the doses, what the amount of the dose is in comparison to the adult dose, and if there's a booster available, and when that booster is supposed to be taken. So if you have any curiosities, I'm going to leave that up there for a second, and it kind of gives a little bit of information about that. And it breaks it down between the two vaccines that are currently approved for pediatric doses. There are now there's one other vaccine, which is the Johnson & Johnson, and I'm going to go over the other one that was approved by the FDA yesterday, not yet approved by the CDC, but we will have another option for vaccinations as soon as the CDC reviews that and approves it. So this is just a little bit of information about how to determine what your child should have, and which vaccine. It kind of gives you an idea of which vaccine you want to have your child get. The most significant difference between the two of the smaller folks, the 6-month, the 4-year-old, 6-month, the 5-year-old, is in the Pfizer doses, which is the difference between the Moderna is that it actually has 3 doses, 3 shots, as opposed to the 2 shots for the Moderna. But as you can see, if you look at the dosage for that 6-month to 4-year-old in the Pfizer, it's only 1/10 of the adult dose. So it's a weaker dose per shot. So that's part of the reason why it needs a little bit more. It needs an additional dose to build the immunity where it's supposed to be, in comparison to the Moderna, that is only a quarter of the adult dose. So you get a little bit more vaccine with the Moderna vaccine. So that is one of the big differences between the two, which makes it have to get a 3rd dose as opposed to the 2nd dose or 2 doses for Moderna. Now, this is one that a lot of medical professionals have been wanting to get approved in the United States for quite some time now, because it is not an mRNA vaccine, which was causing some concerns for people who wanted to get vaccinated. They were concerned about the technology around mRNA, because everybody assumed that technology was pretty new, which it isn't. It's been around for quite some time, but nobody talked about it. Vaccine conversations were not a big thing in the public media or in public conversations for many, many years, until COVID came around. So people were becoming more critical of vaccinations, and specifically the coronavirus vaccinations. So the mRNA vaccines have created some hesitancy for some folks. So hopefully this vaccine that was approved yesterday is going to give some folks a little bit more confidence around getting vaccinated if they have not been vaccinated yet. Um, currently, it is currently approved in 40 other countries and has been for quite some time, and it has been shown to be pretty effective against coronavirus infection. So, but the unfortunate uh, issue with this is that if you've gotten your primary series and boosters from Moderna or Pfizer, there is no approval at this point where you can mix and match the Novavax uh, vaccine with the other ones. So this is primarily designed for those who have not gotten any vaccines as of yet. So I'm sure there's going to be some studies now that is approved by the FDA, if there aren't already, to try to figure out what the effectiveness of mixing and matching this version of the virus and or the vaccine and the other. But until that happens, this is just a primary series vaccine. It is a two-shot vaccine, just like the rest of them, and it's similar to Pfizer, where the first shot is once you get the first shot, it's 21 days later you get the second shot. So that kind of helps because it doesn't create confusion around how far between the doses you're supposed to get them. So, um, but we should be hearing something from the CDC sometime within the next 7 days. Usually they go pretty quickly. Their advisory committee is going to probably meet sometime this week or maybe the beginning of next week and determine if they want to recommend it just like the FDA did, and then it'll be up to Rochelle Walensky, who is the director of CDC, to sign off on that. So we still have some time, but usually when it gets past this point, the CDC uh, is more than likely going to approve it. So this is probably going to be a third option, technically a fourth option, but as we know, the CDC is recommending Moderna and Pfizer over Johnson and Johnson. Um, so stay tuned. So that's all I have around COVID. I didn't know if the team had anything that they wanted to add um, to the conversation before we
Tony,
move on.
kind of explain the new executive order that was in effect as of yesterday.
Correct. Yeah, well, yes, it's actually on here. I just wanted to make sure before we go to that, see if anybody had any input first on what we just know, what was just presented. I can say that unfortunately, we are out of home tests for COVID. So if you're looking for to get home tests from us, we are out as for now because the ones that we had are all expired. But we're expecting a new shipment in sometime soon. I think IHS said they're going to get theirs in on Friday, which I placed an order for 180 test kits from that delivery on Friday. So hopefully we'll have some for you all to pick up if you need in the near future. And we do still have PPE, whether it's gloves, masks, hand sanitizer, whatever you might need to protect yourself and your families against COVID. If you feel like you need them, we still have them here at the HHS building. And we can give you some of those if you need them. So the executive order, as Claudia was mentioning, it was effective July 1st, 2022. There aren't very many changes to the executive order. As we know, all of the restrictions are still no longer attached to this. The pueblo is still open. We're in the phase 3 of of the reopening, and hopefully we stay low from this point forward on the case count because we don't want to go back into phase 2. But as of right now, we are in phase 3. The most significant difference is in the area of isolation if you test positive for COVID. So previously, if you tested positive for COVID, you had to isolate at home for 10 days, and you had an option to test out at day 5. Because of how the new subvariants are showing themselves, and we've actually seen it here in our office around how long a person continues to test positive. There are studies that are showing that the time frame that the virus stays in your system has increased. And it used to be when the Omicron variant, this is back when, the information about the Omicron variant being a milder version of coronavirus, and that it stayed in your system for a lot less time and caused less symptoms. That 3 to 5 day window is what was presented in the past. One of the reasons why the CDC reduced their isolation period from 10 days to 5 days. However, with these new strains, BA4 and BA5 specifically, and actually some of the BA2 infections that have been coming across, the infection time frame is increased. It's now looking at somewhere between 6 and 10 days of infection before people are actually able to test negative and be able to go back out into the community. So the new version of the executive order is designed to reflect that new data that is going to try to help prevent further outbreaks, or those significant outbreaks that we obviously just went through, because the virus is actually staying in your system a little bit longer. It's actually, the symptoms are beginning earlier and it's staying in your system longer. So what I mean by that is it usually was between 1 and 2 days, between 2 and 3 days after exposure, your symptoms started showing, and now it's between 1 and 3 days. So some people are starting to show symptoms within 24 hours of exposure. So and it just basically talks about that, shows you how contagious this version of the virus can be. So as a result, the new isolation period is 12 days. And the ability to test out and have a shortened isolation period is 7 days, as long as the test is negative on day 7 or after. So despite the fact that there is a new version of the executive order that has been issued, that is really the only change to it, is the isolation period. If you are confirmed positive for COVID, the close contact requirements for quarantine are still not an issue, as long as you're vaccinated and up to date on your vaccines. That there is no requirement for you to quarantine. If you are unvaccinated, you should quarantine just like the rest of the time periods shown in the original conversation, which is 5 days. So if you are unvaccinated and you become exposed to someone who tested positive for COVID, you should quarantine for 5 days and then test on day 5. As long as your test is negative, then you can come out of quarantine. However, you should continue to wear your mask for an additional 5 days, just in case. So that's all we have on the executive order, and this is just a repeat of the phase reopening and recovery plan, just in case you need to see that. But that is all we have on COVID. Anybody else have anything? Now, we don't usually go into real deep data and information on this around the science and things like that. But if you want to have a little bit more understanding of that, the New Mexico Department of Health will have their first um, press meeting where you can actually ask questions today at 1 o'clock live on Facebook. So you go to New Mexico Department of Health Facebook and you can actually watch their report live. You can get more detailed information about COVID and the status of COVID in the state of New Mexico there. They will actually go into more depth on their side and actually have people that are asking a lot more questions about COVID. So moving on. Make this little fancy thing to help me remember to ask whose update is what. CDC is not on there because this is directly from our website, and we have you here, so we just have your face to represent CDC Foundation. And since you started it, you can do your update first.
I don't have much of an update. Really just kind of work forward into the month ahead. So one of the topics we were talking about was that I'm not familiar with is Pueblo Revolt Day. And so I'm interested in that topic in particular, maybe volume. Looks like turn up the volume. Okay, is that better? Is that better? How about now? No, they can't hear me.
I have no idea what's going on.
I have no idea. I'm on mute here.
Here, let me mute myself.
Okay. How about now? Good. Okay. All right then. I can hear the echo now. That's okay. I'll just go ahead and talk. Well, we're talking about Pueblo Revolt Day. I believe that's what it was called, and I'm not familiar with what entailed, but I was also interested in bringing together another health observance topic. It's called International Day of the World's Indigenous People, and so they're pretty close in proximity. The Pueblo Revolt Day that used to take place looks like it's expected to take place on August 10th, and then the International Day of the World's Indigenous People Day is the 9th, and we're looking forward to plan an event. I think we have it as Happy Feet Day, so that's what we're working on. And then I know that Healthy Kids also has some other events that they may have planned, but that's all I'm working on, is to try to gather some information on what to present, and then also working with CHW on a few gathering some food distribution within the community. We'll see how that goes. I reached out to FDIPR, and yeah, I'll provide more information most likely next week on those topics.
Okay.
How's that?
All right, Claudia, do you have anything for CHR?
No, I don't. I think I pretty much reported everything last week. Just the walking in the mornings on Tuesdays beginning at 8:15 at the baseball field, and then the blood pressure clinics. The next one will be on. Let's see. We had it yesterday, so it'll be like at the end of the month, the 26th. Other than that, not anything that I can think of.
Nice. Okay. You have anything, Lenora, from Mikwa?
Oh, good morning. No, I really don't have anything other than come by and see me. I'm here and I'm willing to help in any which way I can.
Lenora, do you have a quick like presentation of what types of help you can give to the people that are kind of familiar with that?
Not right at this moment, but I could go ahead and get one together.
Okay. That way next week when we do an update, we can actually provide that, because some folks may not really know exactly what you can offer them.
Okay. Yeah, I can have that for them.
Thank you. Victoria?
Can you see it?
It's blurry.
Oh man.
Do you, oh, it's because you have the blurred background. That's the
Blurred
reason why.
one? Yeah. Well, anyways, I think all community members should have gotten their flyer for the July 25th Santiago Day 5K run, and also the 1 mile fun run walk. It'll be starting at 6:30, so check-in, sign-in would be at 6:15. And yeah, just get ready for that, and hopefully to see everybody out and just have a good time. And I don't know what else will be happening throughout the day, but I really look forward to this run with you guys and just to be out there, especially for that day. And that's about it, I think.
And Victoria's going to be your rabbit. You guys have to catch her.
No, that's you, Troy.
No. All right. I think that's it. Nobody else is on right now. Raylene is out. Thelma is testing folks right now. And our CHR is still trying to work her way back, Darylyn, back into the office. So we will probably have full staff next week. But as of right now, I think that's all we have. We don't have a lot of information. We did have the screenings at the tribal offices yesterday, and I want to remind everybody that those are every other Wednesday, and want to make sure that you guys know that is available. So show on up down there and get your screenings done. Victoria's still doing fitness assessments if you're interested in just getting a fitness assessment to know where you are, or if you're looking to get into the gym membership program, you can also use the fitness assessment process to do that as well. The walks, CHR and diabetes program are still hosting the walks every Tuesday and Thursday morning at 8:15. That may change. We may have some alternatives coming up in the future once we get authorization from the governor's office. But as of right now, we're still at the baseball fields and doing our walks every Tuesday and Thursday morning, 8:15. There are still, through the diabetes program, you still have an opportunity to sign up for nutrition consultations. Contact Raylene in her office if you are interested, and we can get you signed up for that. And I think LaDonna is going to start planning on doing some food demos here soon, and hopefully you guys will be able to benefit from that, because I think that we're due. We're definitely due for some additional food demos now that the summer's coming. And I don't know if LaDon has more information on that, but it's definitely something that we want to keep looking forward to.
Yeah, so we got produce from Mulgrove's, and I reached out to Fidipper. So I'm looking at creating recipes with some of the foods that are available. And so, yeah, hopefully we'll get some demos, nutritious food demos available online. This, I think we mentioned before that we got a few items: kale, strawberry starter, radishes, just a few items to share with families. Yeah, it'll take a little bit. Most likely next week I'll have that a bit available.
Yeah, the food bags and boxes, I think they were available for Mogro, or for families that have children. And so if you are a family that have children and didn't have an opportunity to benefit from that, you can contact the CHR program and they can help you to get connected. So I think that it's been a rough couple of weeks for our team, past couple of weeks, especially the COVID response team, with all of the testing and the positive cases and the contact tracing and the on-call, things that we hadn't been used to for a while because the cases had remained so low. So I definitely wanted to send a shout out and thank you to our team who have been working pretty diligently to try to keep the community as safe as possible, especially doing the contact tracing and try to avoid additional spread of the virus in the community. I think that's something that is not acknowledged enough, because it is going on a 2.5-year process of COVID, and the fatigue is real. People are tired of having to deal with this over and over again. But, you know, just as much as the community and the general public are pretty exhausted with the whole process, I think the team can say that we've really not been happy about how all of it has gone down, but we have been happy to do the job that we do around testing and contact tracing and trying to keep people safe, because that is what we are here for. So on that note, thanks to LaDon and Claudia, Thelma, and Raylene, and Darylyn, and of course Rebecca. Now she's gone, but you know it's been a tough time. But I'm kind of glad that we're leveling out and getting those cases under control and keeping it from spreading, and providing the support and care that we can for those who have been affected by positive cases. So with that being said, roundtable, anybody have any last questions or statements to make? Claudia? Lenora? Victoria? LaDon?
No, we're good. I'm good.
I have just a couple of things that I could go ahead and say, you know, just right offhand about ICWA. We can help provide referrals for counseling services with, you know, mental health, with what's going on, and this number is rising. You know, I can help with that type of thing. If you're feeling anxious, depressed, scared, you know, I can help with that type of stuff. We also provide parenting classes. But I think I just wanted to go ahead and mention that, you know, we could help. ICWA can help in finding if anyone needs some type of mental health outlet or counseling or referrals.
which is an important point to make as we start closing down. I think that I mentioned how the community is tired and pretty exhausted around COVID. And I think that one of the things that we have not focused on a lot is the psychological, emotional, and mental challenges that have come with this pandemic. We focus a lot on the physical aspect of it and making sure that you're safe and vaccinated and the testing's done, and it's all physical. But with all the talk and fear and anxiety and the hype around the virus and the pandemic, I think that the depression and the anxiety and the stress, loss of jobs and loss of connection and social isolation, and we can go down the list of all the things that the pandemic and this virus have helped create, or even help worsen, because some folks have already had these challenges prior to the pandemic, and the pandemic just made it worse. And so, making sure you understand that our department is designed to try to manage the health and well-being of every member of this tribal nation, as well as their family members and the folks who live in their homes and that may not be enrolled members or maybe not even native. We do still offer services to people who are dealing with and struggling with some of these challenges that I just mentioned. So Lenora is a good resource to contact if you need to try to identify a location that you can seek out these services, because like we've said in most recent presentations and most recent updates, these things are not talked about a lot. And mental health is a big topic in the news. It's a big topic in conversations in the media now, and the opportunities are increasing. I do want to expand and have the opportunity to provide our own clinical services here in the Pueblo, but until we get that, we do need to reach out to other services that can help. So reach out to Lenora. Lenora, what's your phone number over there?
I'm sorry. It's 455-4164 for the office. And then my cell is 699-0164.
0164.
Yes.
Got it. Just so you know, it's interesting because a lot of folks, when they hear ICWA, they immediately assume it's the Protective Service Agency or Protective Service Program for children. However, there is a separate component to her program, the family advocacy part of her job, and that's where this falls in. And so family advocate is basically a social services arm of our department that can help provide those services that you need in time of need. So if you have any concerns or questions around that, definitely give her a call. I'm going to put her phone number in the chat so that it's available for everybody to see. Your number's now in public, Lenora, so be happy. No. But I think that's it. And just as an added piece to that, counseling is not the only way. You can also look at physical activity as an option to deal with stress and mental health challenges, and help you to escape some of the difficulties around the pandemic. And we have multiple people in our department that can help connect you or even provide that for you. And Victoria is a person, and healthy eating is something that you can discuss with LaDawn, because food is also part of fitness. Nutrition is part of fitness. And if we can, keep promoting the whole person and not just the physical, not just the mental, we want to promote the care and healing of the whole person, and physical activity and nutrition are part of that. The traditional and spiritual piece is also important. So if you have someone in the community that you can reach out to for that aspect, that is definitely something we encourage, because all the pillars of fitness should be addressed, especially right now during this pandemic. Um, so we keep talking about this offline outside of these presentations, that we need to start focusing on promoting mental health, and focusing on promoting these pieces, not just from the aspect of what our program is and what our programs do, but from what is needed to help heal and help this community recover and rebuild post-COVID. So I think that's all. I keep saying that's all, but now it's really all. It is 11:52 p.m. a.m., not p.m., a.m., and it's almost time for lunch, obviously, because I can't even speak clearly, and I have no carbs, no glucose in my brain right now. So I need to go get some. So thank you all again. Appreciate your time. Thank you for the team for participating in this conversation, this presentation, and we will do this again next week, as we always do. So July 21st at 11 o'clock will be the next time we meet. And so until then, thank you all for showing up. Have a good day.